the show. Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome back to the show. The show where anything can happen, really. Not anything. It's just me talking. It's just me going all over the show. That was a poor tagline. Anyways, hello and welcome. I hope you are here to enjoy yourself. I hope you're here to watch and to listen and to learn from all my nonsense. And it is nonsense. I'm just here having fun. You're just here listening to me have fun. It's awesome. It's working. It is what it is. Okay. And but big thank you everybody for watching, for subscribing, for listening. Those of you that are listening on Spotify, and I really appreciate that. And if you haven't already, please go over to Spotify. Go follow me over there. Just search all over the show. You should find it there. And then you can experience me in your ears, just right here, just right there. Like I'm saying, hello, how are you this morning? You know, just being my unusual self. And it was requested this morning actually, like, can you not be yourself today? And I was like, absolutely not. I'm gonna be myself 100% of the time. And who else do you want to be, really? You know, if you think about it, geez, it's like, you want to pretend? That's called acting. And that's for entertainment purposes. If you're just acting and not entertaining anybody, then what are you even doing? You know, I've always thought that I could be an actor. There's a lot of things, and I think that's a bit of a arrogance thing, you know, when you see something and you be like, I can do that, and then no you can't, you know. Because acting takes it's a serious discipline, you know. It's a very interesting thing. Like some of the I should maybe include some full stops in when I talk. But anyways, man, acting is fascinating. Like, there's a lot of actors that I find very interesting for what they do. They are you get what's called method acting, and method actors, what they do is they don't just perform the role, they become the role, you know. And that's super interesting, because it's like you basically have to study the character in such depth and even get to the point where you are contributing and creating the character, because the writers of the movie or the show or whatever, they have an idea of what they want the character to be, but you as an actor have to embody that. And a lot of these talented actors, that's what they do. They literally love the role until that movie is done filming, or until that series is done filming. You know, whether they're on set or off set, they are still that character. And I find that super interesting, because it's really, that's how you create a believable character, and that's obviously an actor's job. And if you've ever watched like a movie or a series and you're really sitting there hating somebody, you know, on a show, that means that person has done an absolutely incredible job, because it's made you forget that this is a person playing a character, and you're actually like, for you it's like, no, that character's real and I hate her, you know. There's a few on Game of Thrones, you know, one of my all-time favorite series. It's really, I would say, top 5. It makes the top 5. I don't think it makes the top 3. It might make the top 3. I haven't actually figured it all out, but it's definitely top 5. And there's a couple of characters on there, like Cersei Lannister, Joffrey Lannister. It's just really the Lannisters. You really come to hate those people, that whole family, you know. There is some of those family members like Tyrion and Jaime who have some redeeming qualities, but you know, I don't know. There's just. But my point is, before I forget my point is that those are brilliant actors, people who can convince you of their character, like, not where you lose the ability to recognize that that's just a character in a movie or in a series, you know. So it's fascinating and really impressive. Like, that's what you call a talented actor or a talented actress, because where you like lose reality altogether, you know, it's incredible. But anyways, enough of that. Why did I come up with acting? What was I? Sorry. Anyways, big announcement, everybody. I am pregnant. No, I'm not. Anyways, I just thought I'd drop that in there. The baby's mine. Anyways, yeah. What's going on? What's going on in life? Let me think. Not much. I think last week I said that I've been getting into some adult fitness, and it's making me feel really good. Like even now I'm on such a buzz. It feels like I've had 3 cups of coffee when I've only really had 2. And coffee's so lekker. Coffee's so nice. For those of you who are not from South Africa, if you're from the UK, if you're from the Brazil, if you're from Brazil, and what is the other, USA? Those are the 3 other countries that I've seen now watching my show, which is awesome. Shout out to your country. Your country is the best wherever you're from. Our country certainly isn't. Unless you're talking about like rugby, then we are number 1. Or like mixed martial arts, then we're number 1. Or Afro pop, apparently we're also number 1. Shout out to what's her name, Tyler, for dropping an album. I haven't listened to it. It's not my kind of music, but congratulations to her, congratulations to Driekus Du Plessis, and congratulations to the Springboks for winning the World Cup. But that was actually a while back, Actually, while I was planning to start this podcast, that was some of the things that I wanted to mention, especially about Driekus and especially about the Springboks. But yeah, I just haven't gotten around to that. But yeah, if I think about it, right? Let me see my top 5 series in no specific order. Game of Thrones has to be one of them. Breaking Bad has to be one of them. Star Trek: The Next Generation for sure. The best Star Trek series, really. There are like a few that come close in terms of Star Trek, but that one, Star Trek: The Next Generation, really blew my mind and really changed my life, and not in a big way, but in a very small way, and it's close to my heart, and I understand why people love it so much, And a lot of the times, you think about like something like Star Trek, you're like, oh, that's such a nerdy thing, oh, that's for nerds, like, maybe, but if you really look at it, it's still a series. It still has all the elements of a good series. There's some adventure, there's some character development beginning to end of the series, there's some like difficulties and overcoming. There's a lot of drama, a lot of people in there have history with each other that goes unaddressed sometimes, and sometimes they are found in situations where they are, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of suspense even, it's kind of like all in one, and it's really cool. The series is kind of like episodic, meaning like every episode is like a one-off, but it still feels like there's a bit of a serialized thing going on. But still fascinating, to be honest. Still fascinating. And what I love about it is just that it's in the future. Like, it's set in a future that somebody has imagined. And it's like almost like we're not far off. You know what I mean? Like, we're almost there. Like the people video call each other in that series. That was before video calling was ever a thing. Like the series, I think, was kicked off in like the 80s, and before that the 70s with the original series. But there's like video calling, and people walk around with tablets, and they can, what else? I'm trying to think of inventions that they have there that is now currently with us. Like voice AI, like they have like the computer, you just speak to it, you do voice commands to the computer and it does stuff for you. It's like super interesting, and I would love to have such a system in my house. Like, imagine you walk in, you're like, computer, please put on the lights, or not even please, it's a robot, you don't have to say please. I say please though, like even when I watch, even when I mess around on ChatGPT, I'm still like, I still am polite, and I don't understand why, but it could be that I'm afraid that one day when the AI takes over, or if technology, the robots rise up, maybe they'll remember, hey, this guy said please, I don't know. That's not just that's just a bit of a difficult thing to think about, because it frightens me, really. It does. every day you see more and more ways in which technology is controlling our lives, and really not in a good way, like you are not exactly connecting yourself to the world, but rather connecting the world to you, giving the world access to you. That's what it is. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm giving you access to me. You can ask me questions via the hotline or something. And by the way, the hotline is 072-012-1804. I almost forgot it. 072-012-1804. And you can literally ask me any questions, and I will openly answer those questions on this show, if it's appropriate, of course. I'm really trying to keep this show clean as possible, because obviously I have some goals. I'd like to be a part of the YouTube partnership program, in which YouTube runs ads on your channel, and then you are compensated financially for that. That's a goal of mine, but it was never the main goal. The main goal was just to do this, man. It's just to do this because I enjoy it. I really have fun doing this, and speaking to you is always a great thing, But if I think about what's okay, so I'm feeling good. I'm really been feeling good. It's excellent. Like it's amazing the power that regular exercise has. When you sleep well, when you sleep properly, when you rest properly. Like for example, on a Saturday and on a Sunday, I am chilled. No form of severe effort from my side, mentally or physically or otherwise. Just want to relax, and it does me good, because now it's Monday, and it's Monday the 8th of April 2024, and it's like on a Monday then you feel re-energized, and all of a sudden Monday becomes your favorite day. I think what happens to a lot of people is you work. That's your 5 days. The weekend comes, you go out, you party, you drink, you stay up late. All of that. Monday swings by and you are a mess. Because why? You've spent all that energy. You have not actually rested. And I use the weekend for resting, especially on a Sunday. Try and get me to do anything on a Sunday. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'll be like, I'll do it later. And by later, I mean Monday. But, and I think it's important. Wow, it's super important to just rest. Like you can't live your life on 100% all the time. Sometimes you have to tone it down a bit, dial it back, so that you can recover, recuperate, and just be revitalized and rejuvenated, and all the re words. Anyways, so like I think that's super important. I think it's super important to rest, and it's fun, because now on the weekends, that's when you get to watch football, that's when you get to watch Formula 1, and that's just me. Whatever you like to watch, go for it. Even like my consumption of streaming, platforms and all of that, like those I enjoy as well. YouTube, watching a lot of YouTube, Netflix, Disney Plus, whatever it is, And it's just to switch your mind off, man. You can't do it all the time. That's the thing. You can't do those things all the time. You have to be doing that in the minority of your time. Majority of the time, you should be, putting in the work and moving forward. That's what I believe, and that's how I try to approach life. Is that I'm just maximum effort with everything. But if it's the weekend, relax. It's good for you. So I've been relaxing. What's been going on this week, man? This past week, not much. It's been raining, and thank the Lord for just watering the garden there a little bit. It's so nice. It's so cold, and I'm wearing a hoodie finally. I've been so excited to wear hoodies, and I've been waiting for the opportunity, and finally it's nice and cool. Oh, it's so good, And for the past few days now, it's been raining, and I have this little leak under my window. I'm pointing to it. You can't see it because you're looking at me. Under my window, I have this little. It's not little. There's basically a leak, and every time it rains against the window, the water streams under the windowsill and into my room. And this morning I wake up, just and I was wearing socks because it's nice and cozy, You wake up, you get out of bed, and then you step in water, and it's ice cold. Oh my goodness! So that was a rude awakening, really. But it definitely, gave me a jolt of energy, just to spring into action. No time to be sluggish, no time to be groggy. You wake up and now it's time to get moving, sunshine. And that's something we haven't seen in a while. Actually, is the sunshine. But it's nice. This rain is welcome, and it's definitely settled the dust in the air, because when you have so much heat and so much dryness, like it affects your nose, everybody's like snuffing and oh, my nose is gross, man, gross. And that's just when we're all gross, is when there's pollen in the air and dust, and the wind blows it around and we breathe it in, and it just affects everybody, Then, what else? Yeah, it's been raining, so I'm really happy. I had to mop it up this morning, unfortunately. Oh, that was a grueling task. Like, imagine just, you're wearing socks and your feet are wet or your feet are cold and you just woke up and you have to mop it all that. Is what it is anyways. What else is going on in life, man? Nothing much really. Nothing much to report on my side, Captain. But yeah, it's I think it's a fun ride no matter what you do. You have to make it a fun ride. Otherwise, you're going to be bored and miserable, And there can be nothing more misery-inducing than boredom. And I think if two people can be performing the same task, one is having fun, the other one isn't, then it's not the task, So when you have a day in life, and it's an uneventful one. Why was it uneventful? Why didn't you put anything into it to make it happen, And I'm only reflecting now on my week, actually, this past week, not much has happened. Some good stuff, but not that I can openly share, unfortunately. Private matters, good things, definitely good things, but private matters, can't share that really, mostly because whatever would follow from sharing that is things that I don't need to and don't want to deal with, You don't know what I'm talking about, and that's fine. But anyways, I've just been kind of putting myself a lot in planning mode and in performance mode, I think it was Napoleon who said that there's a time for planning and there's a time for action. No, he was saying thinking is for the time of planning. When that's done, all there's left to do is action. I'm definitely getting that wrong, but something along those lines. It's just about contrasting planning and action, right? There's no time to think when it's action. You just have to put in the plan. You just have to execute the plan that you thought of, And so that's what I've been doing, and I think that if you don't plan, what do you expect is going to happen? It's not going to go great. It might just be that you become a victim of circumstance, that life just is happening to you, and you have no agency, you have no authority, you have no control. But if you plan, if you follow that plan, discipline or in a disciplined way, then you actually provide some freedom for yourself, because now you're like, oh, I'm an active agent in the world. I'm actually able I'm actually able to do what I want to do after I've done what I have to do, and that's the beauty of it. So that's something that I've been really focused on. I've really been trying to streamline the process of planning, especially like my days and my weeks and my months. Not like super strict, but at least some structure, For me, I don't know how you are, but I need structure. I really do. Without structure, without a clear path forward, I am going to fall apart. I'm just gonna idle, So I need a direction. I need a way to go. I need a list of things to do. And once I give myself that, and that's normally what I do on a Sunday. plan it out. Then when Monday comes, you hit the ground running, or rather you hit the water running in my case. But yeah, it's like a really fun thing to do and all that. But one thing is certain is that we are better off knowing what's happening. As human beings, we are drawn to uncertainty. And not in a good way. We're drawn to uncertainty. We're drawn to things that produce stress, that produce anxiety. We have this negativity bias in us, and it's a survival instinct that's been built into us over, who knows how many years of evolution. But with that being said, we are conscious enough to try and overcome that, because that's actually what makes us different from the animals, is that we can override our programming. We can override our programming. And if we're programmed to look at the negative stuff, to focus on what stresses us out, to focus on what produces anxiety, then we're also gonna now, it becomes a negative feedback loop, because then we are creating an environment in which we do stuff or don't do stuff that causes stress and anxiety, and that stress and anxiety causes us to continue that cycle, to not do or to do the things that cause that. And so we're just in this loop, and then we say stuff like, oh, life sucks. Life doesn't suck, man. Life doesn't suck. Life is amazing, but you have to take it with your own two hands for you to recognize its beauty, because bad things happen, yes, good things happen. And you might feel like only bad things happen to you, but maybe you're just not paying attention, because life is not nearly as unbalanced as that. Life, nature, the universe, whatever you want to call it, has a beautiful balance to it, And you'll notice even in your own life, when there's no balance, you are all over the place, That's the idea of that yin and yang symbol. I've spoken about it before, but the yin and yang symbol is beautiful, right? The Taoists, which is the school of thought or religion, I'm not sure if it's a religion or philosophy, where that yin and yang symbol comes from, right? And the idea is, okay, it's the circle, there's a black side, there's a white side, inside the black there's a white dot, and inside the white there's a black dot, but it has like this curved line to separate the two sides, right? And almost like an S shape. And what that is that's the path of life. That's the path of life. So when you join the path of life, part of it goes to the order side, and part of it goes to the chaos side, right? That's order and chaos. And that's maintaining the balance. If you go too much into the chaos, your life is a mess. It's falling apart. You are full of anxiety. You're full of stress. But now on the opposite side, it's just as bad. You might think, okay, no, we need to be in order only. Okay, fine. Well, think about this. What happens if you veer off too far to the order side? Well, you'll be bored. You'll be unstimulated. And when your life has that, when you are bored, if you find yourself bored on a regular basis, it's probably because there's no chaos, and you need to, and what a privilege that would be, man, if you could decide what sort of chaos you want to introduce into your life. And I'm not talking about chaos in any negative light. I'm just talking about something like throwing the stone in the pond and then let the ripples move, So when you take that to your own life, it's like, do something out of the ordinary, do something fun, find something different, something you would never have done before. And then life is interesting. Then you're not going to say, oh, I hate life, it's boring. Jeez, you're boring, man. If everything is boring, dude, it's probably not that. It's going to be you, If all people suck, guess what? It's you. If every movie you've seen is bad, I've got some news for you. You're the bad one, not the movies. And that just goes for everything. If you hate everything, dude, you actually just hate yourself. So yeah, that's just the truth. Sorry to drop that truth bomb on you, you muppet. I've been calling people muppet lately, and it's fun to see their reactions. They're like, what? You could see it's a Did he just say Muppet? You know? And yes, I did say Muppet. So thank you, you Muppets, for watching and for listening. I really appreciate it. And I wonder, what are you up to when you're reading? When you're listening to this, I hope you're keeping busy. You know, I was speaking to a close friend, you could say, an older lady. You know, she's really like my family, even though she isn't, you know, my auntie, but she isn't my auntie, but she is. You know, I've adopted her and she's adopted us, you know, me and my siblings and all that. But and she said that I made her late for work because she was watching an episode and she's literally like out of the bath getting done and she's just watching the show. She's not getting done for work. So she was like super late for work because she wanted to watch it finished, you know. That was hilarious. So I wonder, what are you doing right now, you know? Where are you? Yeah, that's an interesting one. If you want to, just in the comments, just say watching from, and then you put the place where you're at. Watching from Muppet Land. Watching from Sesame Street. Watching from Takalani Sesame. I don't know. Watching from the planet Mars, wherever you're from, really. Anyways, I don't know if you guys get YouTube up there in Mars, but maybe you do. Maybe you've got some technology to tap into it and all that. So congratulations if you're from outer space. You know, that's take me with you. You know, please don't take me with you. Come and ask me first. You know, we need consent over here. But yeah, what else is going on in life, man? I've been trying to read more consistently, and it's really good. You know, reading is, like I've already mentioned this before, reading is one of the most underrated activities you could possibly imagine. Because on the outside, you're like, oh, I must sit and read a book, how boring. But no, when you read a book, you are transported to a new place. You're transported into Westeros, which is the place where Game of Thrones takes place, or you are transported to Hogwarts, which is where Harry Potter likes to mess around, and you know, or if you are reading a non-fiction book, you're entering the mind of the author. Isn't that fascinating to you? To be able to read somebody's thoughts, you know. Granted, it's the thoughts that they want you to see, but it's put in such a coherent form, and obviously you choose the book, so it's like if it appeals to you, you know. So ask yourself, if I were to read a book, what would I read? You know, would you read fiction? Would you read non-fiction? Would you read self-help, psychology, philosophy, history? You know, those are the things, man. And it's so good because what you're doing is you're also participating in language. Like really the most active way you could participate besides speaking is reading, you know, and the two help each other, right? The more you read, the better you speak, you know. Like you watch some YouTube videos, or you listen to a podcast, or you just read people's social media posts, and the language used is it's almost incoherent, you know. And that just shows how far literacy has fallen. So I'm trying actively. I'm actively encouraging everybody. I see everybody I meet, read a book. There is a book that you're gonna love. I promise you. There is a book you're gonna love. You know. And I think that we're just too distracted with social media, with streaming platforms, with all that stuff to read. And I myself am guilty of this. I'm a big time guilty of this, but I've tried to change that this past week. You know, what else? Oh, I started work again this week, and that's always nice, you know. And I'm not a tall guy, so when I'm at work, you know, we're basically short-staffed, and that's just because I'm there, you know. But it's quite fun to get back into it, you know, just to get back into this routine. And for me, like I've always not dreamt, but I've always wanted to be a professional musician. I don't feel as though I'm a professional musician, but technically I am, because what I'm doing is I am using my musical abilities to deliver a service, and in exchange I am paid for it, and that is fantastic. And especially like just to play the organ, man, wow, what a cool job that is, because all I get to do is I have music that I can choose, and I play it, and whoever's there is listening. That's fun. And then I'm also playing like hymns, which I love. I love playing hymns, and I love listening to hymns. So beautiful. And people get to listen. People get to sing with as well, at the school that I work at, and it's really quite it's so simple, but it's so fulfilling. It's almost like that's my dream job, and I don't know what my dream job might be. On the one hand, I'd love to be a touring musician. Not the main act, but like being like a bass player for a singer, or being a keyboard player or a saxophone player as part of the band, not the main guy in the band, but just a part of it, and going from city to city, doing this and that. Like, oh man, that's I'm literally beaming right now from talking about that, because like I can't imagine anything more exciting than that. I can't imagine, because what you're doing is during the day you're rehearsing, at night you're performing. Oh my word, that's all. That's everything to me, man. Like if I could do that one day, and I'd love to. It's not sustainable. You can't love that way, but to have a certain, to do that in a certain part of your life, man. I would absolutely have to do that. Or if there's a lot of spots, places to perform, in a very small area, like if you look at like New York City, for example, there's so many different jazz clubs and different venues to perform at, where you could just walk in and say, listen, can I bring my band with, or do you guys have a band? Then I can play. You rehearse all day, at night you go perform, and that's how you work. Oh my goodness, man, that's the dream. A lot of my heroes used to live that way. Excuse me. A lot of my heroes used to work that way, like John Coltrane and Charlie Park and Miles Davis and Ron Carter and Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock. Oh man, I love all those guys. Those are I've just named a few absolute jazz legends, and that's just not me saying so. That is the truth. They are legends of jazz, and jazz is a very big thing for me. I absolutely love jazz, man. Like it's if you like the idea of discipline and freedom and skill, musicality, consciousness, and creativity, if you value those things, you go and you listen to jazz music, because that is really, for me, one of the biggest forms of creative expression that there is, because not only do you get to play the way you want to play, there's not a strict, no, you must play this way, there's a freedom to it, but it's also a structure to it, otherwise it wouldn't make any sense, right? And creativity really thrives within structure, right? If you tell a child, draw anything, they're gonna be like, what? Or if I just say, think of anything, you're gonna be like, okay, but like what? You need like some sort of direction. So creativity thrives in structure. If I say, okay, draw me a car, now you're gonna decide, okay, how do I want the car to look? Now your creativity has a space to work in, and that's what the musical structures are. But the structure is so loose and so free that now creativity is not only in the box, but sort of like seeping out the sides even, and that's that edge right there. That's the exciting part. And if you are a musician, man, try out something like jazz. Go improvise on a set of chord changes, and see the experience that you're left with. It's really quite profound, and you just wonder like, whoa, where did that come from? Okay, but anyways, I feel like I'm really rambling today. Haven't really been outside much, on the count of the rain as well, which is so cool. And it's really just fortunate that it's raining. I know in a lot of places it doesn't rain. And the other thing is like the weather is such a chaotic force, so it is a force of nature at the end of it all. And there are people whose roofs have been blown off, and there are people whose houses have collapsed or not houses, but wherever they live, it's collapsed, you know. And what about all the homeless people who have to somehow find shelter in this cold and wet? Like, oh, that's so sad, man, you know. One thing I really love to do, especially with this show, and that's why I one of the reasons why I say please subscribe, please share the content, please, you know, watch it, is because I would like to use this platform one day to try and set up charities to help people who are struggling in a house, you know, that's falling apart, or who maybe don't even have a home. Like, I would love to do that, you know. I studied building. Was one of the things that I studied when I was at university, and when I worked during my practical year, part of my studies in the second year, you work during a practical year, and I was involved in a project that built houses for people that don't have houses. It's a government project, so it's like a development thing where you literally build a bunch of houses and people are assigned to those houses, and now you have running water, you have electricity. Oh my goodness, that's such a step up. You have a house that isn't going to fall apart if the weather gets too severe, you know. And that's always been something that's close to my heart. I loved being a part of that, you know. And I think about it often. So I wanna use this platform, you know. So please, let's make this happen. Let's make this more successful than it is, because I believe it's successful anyways. But let's make this a more successful show. Let's help grow it, you know. And all you need to do is just subscribe if you haven't, and share it. Let other people enjoy it and experience it, and support the show, because it's gonna eventually, not now, it's gonna eventually make it possible for us to build houses for people, man. That's really what I want to do. I know there's various foundations that do that, but I would like to throw my hat in the ring also and say, hey guys, let's start a foundation that, or maybe we'll just call it foundation, because, you know, that's a building term. Anyways, start a foundation that puts people in homes, because the government does it, but you know, I don't think there's ever a government that's super effective. You know what I mean? There's a lot of businesses that are a lot more effective than the government itself that do the same stuff. So I think, yeah, just for the sake of effectiveness and efficiency, I would love to do that. It's a real dream of mine, and please help me make this dream possible, you know. So that's what I want to do, you know. Oh, but it's time for the book segment. So today's book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a because yeah, I don't wanna drop any F-bombs on the show, because I want to keep it clean, you know. I want to keep it clean because I need to get that YouTube partnership program going, so that, you know, the show can be financially supported and we can eventually make that dream possible of building houses, man. That'll be so cool. But anyways, Mark Manson. And you know, Mark Manson just wrote this book. He didn't go study literature. He's not a full-on professional author. Actually is now. But this book is absolutely life-changing, right? And the subtitle is A Counterintuitive Approach to Living a Good Life. And what I love about this book, right? It's not about being indifferent, right? That's the not giving a thingy, right? It's not actually about that. It's that you have to choose a list of things that you actually care about, that actually would affect you, right? Something like family, something like what might happen to your family, or their welfare, or their well-being, or, you know, that kind of stuff. And not care too much about anything else, because according to the author, a big part of what makes us anxious, what makes us depressed, what stresses us out, a big portion of that is stuff that doesn't affect us in the slightest, shouldn't affect us in the slightest, you know. So his whole idea is that choose a few things to care about and only care about that, you know. It's not about being this you know, seemingly tough guy who doesn't care about anything. Like, no, nobody likes that person. That's, you know, you're cynical, you're negative, you're nihilistic. We don't want anything to do with you. But Here's a good example, and it's an example from the book. If your close relative, mother, grandmother, father, grandfather, some senior close relative of yours, someone who you care about deeply, if that person was scammed out of all their money, is that going to be something that upsets you? Okay, keep that answer, great. Are you going to have that same level of anger or frustration or whatever, or upset when somebody cuts you off in traffic? Just an example. I was speaking to a friend of mine, shout out Ollie, and a while back, I still remember this conversation. He was in Discam. Discam is a pharmacy in South Africa, if you are not familiar. And in Discam, you are... in Discam, he was in Discam, and in one of the aisles, someone was mopping the floor there, so the whole aisle is wet. And there was a gentleman, actually not a gentleman in the case of the story, just a man. And my friend saw this man walk on the wet floor, and so the cleaning guy was saying, hey, look at the sign, it says, it's wet here, And then he was going, why do you tell me what to do? Don't tell me what to do. Just going all rabid and things. And that guy was just doing his job, He was even caring about this person. Like, hey, it's wet there, you're going to fall, But, so this guy he made a huge reaction, an overreaction to just someone looking out for him, basically, And that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about here. That level of response should only be reserved for something that truly, truly upsets you. A lot of the times we're just stressed out, we're just anxious, we're just depressed, we just feel burdened by life simply because we care too much about too many things. If you look at it, so this book is really about examining your values. And that's what I love about it. I'm not going to go chapter by chapter. This is not that kind of book. But I'm just sharing a few key points with you. It's really just about examining what you value, truly, truly value. And the things that are not on that list of values, get rid of it. Throw it aside. Don't give it a second thought. And that's what's going to make you this cool, calm, collected, thoughtful, careful person. That's what it's going to do. All right? Now you're not going to be all over the show like your boy. You're going to be stable, focused, And so this book really, it helped me in a very big way, And I like to balance out the books that I read between fiction, history, philosophy, and then of course, stuff like this. They call it psychology. You'll find this in like the psychology section, and it really is just about a mental shift. It's really about your mindset. It's about mindset, right? And so, and the reason why it's a subtle art is because now you're saying, okay, I don't need to respond to everything. I don't need to react to everything, right? And if you think about it, there's a very big difference. In the book, it also compares the difference between response and reaction, right? And what he's saying is that you lose a lot of personal power when you are someone who reacts to everything. At least if you choose to be a responder, you firstly have the choice, do I respond or don't I respond, right? And for most things, you don't need to. That's what the author is saying. There's most things you don't need to. You only need to respond on that which you value. And you can only do that if you've actually thought, what do I value? And if it's whatever's not on that list, let it go, But basically, if you can examine your values and you decide, what do I respond to? What don't I respond to? And if it's not part of your values, you don't respond to it. You don't. If it is part of your values, you can also then choose how to respond. Sometimes we have a poor response to things that we care about, things we get passionate about, things we get excited about. We have a negative or we have a bad response, a response that's not good for you, not good for those around you, and not good for whatever's going on. Case in point, if my curtain was on fire right now, I would be freaking out and running around, and that's reaction. Okay? Response would be, the curtain's on fire. First off, make sure everybody knows that there's a fire, and then go get water and then kill the fire. Boom. That's the difference between reacting and responding. So even when you're in a position to not be able to choose whether to respond or not, where you have to respond, at least you are not going to be in total freak out mode, you know. So that's also what this book creates. It creates a very stoic air about you. You know, you feel very powerful, actually. You know, you feel like that lion who's like, I'm not going to eat you now, but I'll eat you later, you know. And that's a powerful feeling, I can imagine, because you are then someone who doesn't need to respond to anything, and that's how you lose your power, you know. And I'm not talking about power as in controlling the masses. I'm not talking about that type of power. I'm just talking about personal power, you know. And when last did you celebrate your power? You know, I celebrate my power every day by making sure that I choose to make up my bed, and I choose to exercise, and I choose to have a certain healthy breakfast, and I choose not to go overboard with this and that and the other, and I choose to schedule my day because I know if I do that, by the end of the day I will have gotten things done instead of worrying about what I didn't do, you know, and feeling unresolved, feeling uneasy, feeling restless, you know. Where was I going with this? But anyways, the book. It's an awesome book. Go and read it. If you feel like your life your life can be summarized as reacting to everything, you know, and I was that person. 100% I was that person where I would have something to say about everything. I would have a reaction about everything, a response about everything. And you know what? It's exhausting. It is exhausting. The last thing you need to do is be that reactor or responder to everything. Imagine going on Instagram and liking everything you see. Every post, pop up. I'm pretty sure Instagram will block you because now you're just spam liking, right? So don't do spam loving. Don't react to everything. Don't respond to everything, you know? It's like... Anyways, the reason why it's a subtle art as well is because you're not overtly saying, I don't care about that. You know, if you don't care, you're just like, whatever, is what it is. Keep it moving, you know. And what it also helps you to do is that when things go sideways, and things will always go sideways. And that's not negative, that's just life, okay? Life has a way of throwing you off balance sometimes, you know. It's just trying to see, are you stable, are you alright? And you want to be the kind of person that can deal with that immediately. Whatever happens, you deal with it, and you deal with it in the right way. But if you are a reactor to everything, the food is too warm, you know, like, oh man, come on, you know what I mean? So yeah, like I highly endorse this book. I'm not getting paid to promote this, by the way. I'm not getting paid. YouTube will say in the top left corner, if I am, they'll say paid promotion. But there's no paid promotion here. I just think genuinely this is a really good book. A counterintuitive approach to living a good life. The subtle art of not giving a and by Mark Manson. Mark Manson also has a podcast where he talks a lot about the themes of his books. He also has other books that run along the same lines, you know, where, you know, if you're someone who seems to take life too seriously, where everything is either a problem or a good thing, you know, you're all over the place, you're being pulled everywhere, right? But if you realize that this is a very big world, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of things going on. If you just can decide, I'm going to choose what to react to, this is what makes me happy, this is what interests me, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, already, before the things happen, before the event takes place, before the reaction is brought out of you, before it's necessary to respond, if you can already set up your responses to that, you are going to feel so powerful. You are going to feel so much in control of your life. And that's really what this book has done, you know. I love reading. Honestly, I love reading, because when you read, you're in the mind of the author, and all they're trying to do is really help you, you know. They're writing this down because they know, like, this is going to take you to a different place in your mind. It's going to unlock a door you didn't even know was there. It's going to make you think in ways that you weren't able to before because you didn't have that perspective. So now when someone shares their perspective in a volume of 202 pages, then you're able to take advantage of that, and in a good way, because that's exactly what the author wants you to do. So it's brilliant. It's honestly, it's absolutely brilliant. And this is definitely one of my favorite books. I highly recommend that you read it, especially, don't just read it to read, okay? Read it if you need it. You know, I'm a poet and I know. Anyways, the book itself is there to help guide you a little bit, you know. Obviously, you decide what guides you. You decide. But at least you can choose. At least you can choose that this principle, this value, this set of rules, those are my guiding principles. That is what is helping me to move forward in life. You know, it's not giving you a step-by-step guide to be happy or to be successful, but it's giving you some ingredients that you can take along. And then in the next book that you read, you have a little bit more of the picture, and that's your unique experience, you know. And don't we all just want to live a good life? And that's what it says here. A counterintuitive approach to living a good life. Counterintuitive because you would think, oh no, I'm supposed to care about everything. I want to be a good person. Yeah, fine. But how many good people do you know are having a good time? You know? You can still be a good person. You just don't have to care about everything. You don't have to take all the world's burdens on your shoulders. You don't have to allow things to happen that affects you emotionally, or, you know, anything like that, you know. The goal really, like, for me, is to be that mountain when it rains, whether it's windy, whether it shines, whether it hails, whether there's a fire, whether the sea is beating on the mountain. It's stationary, it's there, it's solid, it's stable, it's dependable. That's what I want to be. And this book definitely brought me to that place. So here it is again, The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up, and a counterintuitive approach to living a good life by Mark Manson. Go and read it. It is an absolutely brilliant book. It's a masterpiece, and it's written by someone who never wrote a book in his life. You know, he wasn't even with a publisher at the time. He just decided, you know what, come and write this book. And it's brilliant. It's fresh. It's beautiful. You know. So yeah, what else is going on? What else is going on in my life? I've really been thinking about pets lately, actually. Like we used to have a dog when I was in high school, you know, around that time, and after high school, during that time, we had a dog, and his name was Rolo. He was a dachshund, or a warshond, you know, it's long and short at the same time, kind of like me, really. And this dog was like a cat, you know. It was a cat trapped in a dog's body, really a trance cat. And for example, if I throw the ball, go fetch, Rolo, go fetch. And then he looks at you. And I'm like, go, I threw the ball. And then he's looking at you like, why would you throw the ball? You know? It's like he can say that to you. He's like, why would you throw the ball? I'm not going to go fetch it. Then you're like, go fetch it. Then you run and fetch it, okay. Then you come back, you're like, here's the ball. And he's shaking his tail like he wants the ball. You throw it. Then he looks at you again. Like, why did you throw it? You know? And then you're like, go fetch it, go. And then he looks at you like this. And then he walks away. And then even while he's walking away, he looks at you like, You know, he has an attitude. And that's, you know, if you speak to cat people, that's how cats carry on. This dog was next level, man. This dog wanted to be a cat so bad, you know. Sometimes you'd walk by and then it'll go like, meow. You know? Nah, I'm kidding, that never happened. But that dog was like that, yo. But I must that dog. That dog was really a special character. And it's really when you have a pet, you realize that animals all have their own personalities, and it's absolutely fascinating that they all have a mind of their own. They're all unique. A dog is not just a dog. That is a part of the family, and it's amazing. So I miss that dog. I wonder what happened to him. Apparently he got lost. Like he just escaped, I guess. Escaped because he was being held captive now. I believe somebody just stole him out of the yard or anything or something like that. But yeah, our Rolo. He's such a cute dog, He's just and he was a miniature one as well, kind of like me, long and short at the same time. And he really, was this, it's just this, fun little dog that never played fetch. Honestly, it's like he had something against serving. He was like, I'm not gonna do anything for you. All you are here to do is to love me and to show that love. That's all. Sometimes he's hungry, like, it's time for food. He gets super excited. You throw the, those little pellets, and then he looks at you like, really? This? I must eat this. And then he's like, okay. And then you stand there and you watch him, and he's just like. Then he gets up and he goes. He's not going to eat that food. Oh, that was Rolo, yeah. But anyways, what else has been going on in my mind lately? What did you think about the song? The song in the intro, that song came to my mind when it was raining, On the window down the hall, the raindrops, the crystal raindrops. I see the crystal raindrops fall on the window down the. That's just had me thinking like that. I was like, I want to play that song, so I hope you enjoyed that as well. But yeah, that's what else has been on my mind. Oh, I found this out recently. There is a tribe in Mali, I think, and I'm pretty sure it's Mali. Mali is a country in West Africa, I think, and it's the Dogon tribe. I don't know, Dogon. Anyway, this tribe, right, possesses knowledge about the cosmos that people have only recently discovered, and this is knowledge that they've had for thousands of years, and they talk about the deities that they've had. They know exactly like which star system these deities came from. Like they literally have like maps, of the stars, and like this star, that's where they come from. Like that's insane, even the existence of planets like Jupiter and Saturn and how many moons those planets have. Those people knew that way before telescopes were a thing, way before we could, send the James Webb telescope or the Hubble telescope into space and look into the furthest reaches of the cosmos, They knew about all this. So I just found that so interesting, and this just ties into my alternate history theory, is that the things we know are not actually the knowledge. The knowledge is something else. There's something that forgotten history. There's maybe forgotten history that's been going on, Because even if you look at, like, I think I've mentioned this before, in Mexico, in South America, in Egypt, in Indonesia, in China, all these ancient places, in India, all these ancient places where human beings have settled and built these huge, amazing structures. They have carvings and pictures and depictions and statues and all that, showing things that like, how does everybody know? How does everybody know how many planets there are in the solar system? How does everybody know that all the planets revolve around the sun? Like, dude, come on, man. How do they all know this? Surely there must have been something like the way we live now, where I know something and you know something because we have access to the same information. Surely that must have been a thing. Or maybe there was a way that people could travel between different countries and all that, like different continents and all that, and that's just the way that I think about it. Maybe the way that we look at technology technology was maybe a different thing that meant to them back then, And like I said, the hunter dryers impact theory is that a comet struck the Earth some 12,800 years ago, 850 years ago, that brought on the last ice age that took place. And before this time, there was thriving civilizations everywhere, ones that were capable of building huge structures, moving huge building materials, with the technology of the time. And I think we have it wrong. I believe the more I look into this stuff, and I can really jump into a rabbit hole about all that, like whenever I, find myself, Googling stuff, just to keep myself entertained a little bit, Google things, research some facts, or fact check things that you hear about on other podcasts, or or start questioning knowledge that's been around for such a long time, that's been commonly accepted, and now there are new theories that have come to light due to certain archaeological evidence, or certain new ways of calculating the age of materials or structures or whatever, and it just brings into question a lot of things. And unfortunately, because we are now out of school, there's no way we're going to learn this thing. And also, curriculums don't get adjusted when new information comes to light. That's just not how it happens, because new information is constantly coming in so fast, at such a rapid rate, that it would be impractical and impossible to just update every time. Now, in grade 1 I must now learn, or in grade 12 I must learn something that I could have learned in grade 1, but because it's updated it needs to change. No, but it's incredible, because stuff like mathematics, stuff like geometry, all the stuff was somehow discovered all over the world by different people who, according to the current understanding of history, have never had any contact with each other. So that should definitely say something, right? That should definitely, put some alarm bells on. And the fact that the Dogon tribe has had this vast astronomical knowledge, about very distant places, very distant star systems, and who comes from there, what these beings are called, and what they've done when they visited Earth. Like, wow, it's incredible. For them it's like a folk tale or a religious, story or tradition, but now that we have the technology, the facts that we found out support everything that these people are saying. We don't know what we don't know, everybody, and that's just the world that we're living in. Anyways, I'm getting hungry, and I think I'm gonna, it's about an hour. I always aim for an hour, but so thank you everybody for watching and listening. I hope that you enjoyed it. I certainly did. And just to summarize a little bit, please go and read The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up. If you are someone that finds yourself in a bit of a chaotic life, in a life in which you feel as though you have no control, a life in which you feel that things are just happening to you, and you have no escape from it, or there's no choices that you have, go and read this book. I promise you it's going to open your mind to living a good life, and to being able to take charge of it, and to say, I'm in control here, not life, And I hope you enjoyed the song that I played in the opening. And please, once again, everybody, if you enjoyed the show, please like it. If you've made it to the end, you go ahead and comment, I've made it. And if you enjoy the show, please share it with people as well. I think the further this can go, the quicker we can get to the point where I've reached this goal of being monetized, and I can somehow use that the platform to get people into houses that they've never, like people that have never lived in a house, they can live in a house, man. That's something that's been close to my heart forever, and I really wanna make that happen. So I guess that's in summary. There are dogs who are like cats. There are there are books that are good for you. There are places you could go, like space. I'm talking nonsense now. anyways, I hope you have a wonderful week and see you next week. Bye bye.